Hey, Mike here, and I just want to take one quick moment and say thank you for checking out this video. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means a great deal to me and my channel and allows me to keep bringing this content to you. If you've already subscribed, you're awesome, and I really do appreciate your support. Now let's go ahead and jump into this review. Today I'm reviewing the Surefire by Lucky Bags, and this is a review that's long overdue. I've referenced this bag quite often in a lot of my other reviews because this is a bag that is probably one of the most imitated, duplicated bag out there, and for good reason. It's a great bag. Not perfect, has a few flaws, I'll get to that, but it is a great bag. This slow side is the Surefire material. When I refer to a Surefire material, I'm referring to the slow side. It is one of the most popular materials out there right now, especially for slow side bags. But let's go ahead and jump in the review, and I'll cover that a little more. We'll talk about the design here. This is an older bag. This is the 2021 stamp bag, a few years old, but Surefire hasn't changed, or Lucky hasn't changed these Surefires that much. I think they've changed the font on a little bit, but it's still the same Surefire in writing on the front of the bag. The back says Lucky Bags Cornhole, the Surefire down here. It's a fine design. It's not going to wow you. It's not going to make you just blow your mind. But it's simple. It's definitely easily identifiable. You see it across the room, you immediately know what this bag is. I do appreciate that. I do think there's a little too much writing going on. I think they could kind of clean that up a little bit. All in all, it's a fine design. It's just not, it's not something that makes me want to say, oh, I'm gonna go buy that bag because the way it looks, right? Now, as far as the materials, I did talk about the slow side material. This is a very popular material. A lot of bags have used it. Almost every bag company has some bag at least with this material on it, if not a bag that has the exact same material combination, right? This Lucky lists this slow side as a 4-speed. It really plays more like a 5. I call it a 5-speed. For a 5-speed, it is fairly hole friendly. It's very versatile. It handles pretty much all conditions with the exception of humidity. And I've mentioned this quite a few times that this Surefire material in humid conditions, humidity kicks up, becomes unplayable. It just comes to a stop. It won't move. You can't push it. You can't collect it. Outside of humidity, it's an awesome material, and it's a great playing bag. So humid conditions, you're gonna get a different bag. Outside of humid conditions, you can use this bag whether the boards are slow, fast, in between. On the fast side, Lucky again lists this as the 7-speed, but it's really an 8-speed material. This is the Reynolds Pro X fast side. It's a great fast side. It really matches well with the slow side material, in my opinion, because it's fast enough that you can push through most messes and collect most anything on the board, but it's not crazy fast. It's not controllable, right? So I do like the combination of 5-8 speed, because it's kind of the sweet spot for me. The materials feel great together. They're nice and soft. I love the way they feel. There's nothing wrong with that. The bag itself, the template, it is a larger template bag. Not quite as big as a Game Changer, but the Game Changer has this really square corners. It's a little more rounded. But it's a larger template bag, which leads to a floppier bag. It really is a floppy bag, one of the floppiest bags that I have thrown. And if you've watched my videos, you know that I tend to like a floppier bag, so I don't mind that. Some people don't like it, so that may be something that turns you away from the Surefire. But if you don't like the floppiness of the bag, there are other options out there like the Black Sheep Blackwater, the Fire Vengeance, the Swag Bag Shazam. There are other options out there that are smaller template, fuller bags that have the same materials on there. The fill is the typical Lucky fill, that flat disc fill that I mention quite often that everybody seems to love. The same fill that Cornhole Scenario uses, Buffalo Boards uses in their deadheads and so forth like that. It's a great material. It feels great in the hand. No exception here. This bag feels awesome with that fill and these two materials. It's a great feeling bag. I love the way it feels. As far as playability goes, this is a bag that you can play pretty much any style game you want to play with it. If you want to play that dirty style, throwing those blockers out there, you can do it. This material, it's slow enough that you can throw a blocker, stop it out there, and then you can even collect if you want with the slow side, or the fast side is quick enough, you just flip it over. No extra speed, a normal throw, and you can collect the bags. I do like it because it's a larger template bag. I love to put this bag just over on my opponent's side. Take that center line I mentioned before, put 2/3, 3/4 of the bag on my opponent's side, really make them deal with it and give myself a lane to get around, and then let them struggle to try to get around it or try to go through it. If they collect it, great, no big deal. I'll put the next one there. If they don't and they get around it, air mail, whatever, I can always collect it. Typically, floppier bags are harder to collect. And I've mentioned this before, I think, especially in the Typhoon video I did, that when you come to collect a floppy bag, they want to bunch up, right? Bunch up, spin around, drop in. Makes it great for get around shots. This is an awesome bag for getting around your opponent's blocks. Now, I will say on this Surefire, for whatever reason, this bag is a little bit easier to collect than, say, the Typhoon. The Typhoon, I have to come pretty much halfway into the bag to really collect it and push it in. This one, I don't have to come quite that far. I just come just past that corner, maybe even a third of the way in, and I can hit it, and it'll spin and drag that bag in with it. I will say on the negative side is this, being a 5C material, it still does tend to hang on the holo sometimes and wants to just hang there and not fall in. Not a big deal because when it hangs there, it's really easy to collect, but it does suck when it's your fourth bag and you slide it up there and it stops and doesn't fall in. There's nothing you can do about that. If the bag does hang on the back lip, it's a little tougher to collect. A lot of times I find myself having to airmail drag because when it's hanging on that back lip, a slide shot, even though it's hitting it, it's just not enough to drag it in for whatever reason. But when it's, like I said, when it's hanging there on the side or the front, very easy to collect. You don't really have to go out of your way. Being a larger template bag again, a shot in the middle, even if the bag's on the side, we'll clip it enough to typically drag it in for you. The other thing on the slow side I will say is it does have a kick to it. So if you don't throw a flat bag, this bag will kick right to left, left to right. Now, if you know that's there and you're consistent with your non-flat bag, you can play that kick and to your advantage. It does lead to a bag that's really easy to cut. I think this bag is great for playing the cut shots. So when I throw a blocker up there, I have no problem cutting left to right, right to left around it. It's really easy to do, but it's a trade-off. If you've got a bag that cuts really great, you're going to have a bag that kicks. If you take the kick out, you're taking some of the cutability out of it. So it's a trade-off you have there. Not a big deal. The downside, or one thing this thing is not good at, in my opinion, is rolls, flops. Now, I have seen Alex Rawls roll this bag, so rolling it is possible, but because it's floppy and because it has that flat disc, it really lands really soft on the board. Like I said, it does have a kick, but it doesn't really have that. It doesn't really want to get up and roll very easily. So if you're not an above average to great rollback thrower, you're not going to roll this bag. And I don't think you really need to. I think there's enough other things you can do to get around bags. There's no really reason to roll it. It's a great airmail bag because of the floppy nature. It tends to want to grab that lip and drop in instead of hitting and bouncing out. So you have the airmail option, you have the cut option, you have the get around option. You don't really have to roll it. Now, if you're not a dirty bag player, this is also a fast enough material that you can just run bags in the hole, bag after bag after bag, put your 4 bags in, outscore your opponent. You can do that just fine. You can even flip it over and play the fast side. 8 speed is not uncontrollably fast. So it is something that if you're on a little bit slower board, you can flip it over and play that fast side and still control it and still put it in the hole. So you have a lot of options with this bag, which I think makes it so popular that no matter what style game you're playing, I think this can fit your game style, right? And for blind draws, it's a great blind draw bag because no matter what your opponent or your partners used to play in a style game like to play, they can typically play it with this. Maybe the downside to a blind draw is the floppiness. Not everybody likes that, so you might want to have another bag that's not quite as floppy, just in case they don't like a floppy bag, right? So all in all, playability, great bag. I really love it. There's a reason it's popular. It's one of the most popular bags out there because it is an awesome playing bag. Now, getting to availability and price. This bag used to be hard to get. Now it's not so hard to get. Lucky's done a great job keeping this pretty much in stock on their website, so you can typically find them all the time. A lot of different colorways, a lot of different designs, but they are $105 for a set plus shipping. Not outrageous, but that is on the pricier end. When bags you can typically get bags 60, 70, 80 bucks a set. I mean, I can get the Typhoon for 60 bucks a set, plus I think it's $11, $12 shipping. So $72 shipped to my door, $75 with tax, something like that, shipped to my door for a set of Typhoons, which is basically the same bag, just a little different fill. Everything else is the same on it, as opposed to $105 plus your $115, $120 shipped to your door. It's tough to say this is that much better than the Typhoon, right? So that's where I think this bag falls short as the price range. If they could get that price down to that $80, $90 range, I think it's a better option. That being said, you can typically find these on sale from time to time. The new 2023s are rolling out. You might be able to find some of the old 21, 22 bags. Used bags, these are pretty readily available on the secondary market, on the Facebook groups for buying and trading bags. So if you're not set on buying a new set of bags, you can go find a used set. And because they're more readily available now, there's not outrageously priced on the secondary market. In fact, they're very reasonably priced. So you can find a set for 70, 80 bucks used on the secondary market if you still want one of these. But all in all, great bag. Love the way it plays. Love the bag. I just not quite a big fan of the price. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks, guys.